Imagine this. You are floating not in space, not in water, but in something softer, something that doesn't push or pull, but carries you quietly. This is time, or at least the illusion of it. It's not a line, not really. Not a ticking clock or a ruler stretching across eternity. It's closer to an ocean. Gentle waves of moments rising and fading, overlapping and folding, carrying everything that has ever lived. Hey guys, tonight we're not just talking about seconds, minutes or hours. We're going to drift through time itself, how we've tried to measure it, how we feel it, and how it moves through our dreams. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you'd like, share your location and what time it is for you right now. It's always beautiful to know how many of us are watching the same night from different corners of the world. Now, if you're ready, let's begin. Time is strange. You can't see it or touch it yet. It's everywhere, inside every heartbeat, every sunrise, every breath that slowly fades into the next. To most of us, time feels like movement forward, always forward. But physics whispers a different story. It tells us that time might not flow at all, that past, present, and future may simply coexist, like pages already written bound together in one immense book. We don't travel through time. We read it one line at a time, believing that the story is being made as we go. If that's true, then every moment you've lived, every laugh, every tear, every forgotten afternoon still exists, quietly tucked away somewhere waiting. You might think of them as islands behind you lost in the fog, but perhaps they're still here, hidden beneath the waves of the present, shimmering faintly if you know how to look. Physicists call this the block universe, a reality where time doesn't flow, it simply is. To them, your birth, your tomorrow morning, and this very second all share the same stage. You can't step back or forward, because the play is already written, and you are forever part of its script. That thought can feel unsettling at first, or strangely comforting, because if every moment exists forever, then nothing you've loved is ever truly gone. But our minds don't live in equations, they live in feeling. We need time to move. It gives meaning to change, to growth, to hope. A sunrise matters because it follows a night. A heartbeat matters because it comes after silence. So the brain invents a rhythm-stitching experience into a thread we call now. This illusion of flow is powerful enough to shape our entire sense of self. Inside your brain, a region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus acts as your inner conductor. It listens to the light of day, the darkness of night, and sets the tempo for your entire body temperature, hormones, even your moods rise and fall with its silent music. This rhythm keeps you tethered to the planet's rotation, like a tiny echo of Earth itself spinning through space. You are in a very real sense a child of planetary time, and yet even that rhythm can drift. Astronauts on the International Space Station circling Earth 16 times a day lose track of day and night completely. Deep-sea divers cut off from sunlight begin to invent their own cycles, some shorter, some longer than 24 hours. It's as if the body, when left alone, remembers a slower song, one that predates the clock, the calendar, and maybe even memory itself. Think of the first people who watched the sun crawl across the horizon, the shadows stretching and shrinking. They must have sensed something divine, an invisible force that turned light into darkness and back again. For thousands of years, we measured time by what we could see: sand, dripping through glass shadows on stone, water, dripping from clay. Then we made gears and pendulums ticking in rhythm with the planet's heartbeat. We learned to count what we could not hold, but in doing so we also caged time, made it mechanical, obedient. Every tick, every tock, a reminder that life was being divided into smaller and smaller slices. We began to chase those slices, to live by them, and perhaps to lose something in the process. Sometimes when you lie awake at night, You can almost feel that cage loosen. The seconds don't tick anymore, they breathe. They stretch and fade, the edges of thought blurring, until you're not sure if you're awake or already dreaming. That's when you meet time in its truest form, not as something measured, but as something felt. In those soft moments between waking and sleep, your mind drifts freely through memory. You may find yourself back in childhood, walking through a morning that smells like rain. You may see someone you've lost, not as a ghost, but as a presence folded into the fabric of your own awareness. Dreams ignore the clock because the brain at rest forgets to care about sequence. It merges the past with the possible, the real with the imagined, and for a while you are timeless again. Some neuroscientists believe this is why dreaming feels both infinite and brief. When the brain's temporal lobes go quiet, the internal metronome stops. You're no longer counting. You're swimming. Time becomes liquid. Every emotion expands. Every image lingers, and the line between seconds and hours dissolves like mist. And maybe that's why dreaming feels so close to truth. Because beneath all our science, all our schedules, there's still that ancient part of us. The part that feels time the way the ocean feels the moon. Pulled, released, and endlessly returning. Tonight, as you listen, try something simple. Close your eyes. Breathe in deeply once, twice. Let the air fill the shape of your body, then drift away gentle as the tide. Listen for the silence between each breath, the pause where nothing seems to move. That stillness is time, not rushing, not counting, simply existing. Maybe the universe isn't a clock after all. Maybe it's a dream that never ends, and we are the moments it chooses to remember. So let yourself float for a while. No past, no future. Just this, the slow turning of the world, the quiet hum of life, the soft pulse of time beneath your skin. Because tonight we're not racing the clock, we're drifting through it. Long before seconds and minutes ruled our days, there were only rhythms, the rise and fall of the sun, the slow dance of shadows, the steady pulse of the human heart. Time back then was not measured, it was felt. People woke when light filled the sky and slept when darkness folded around them. The world itself was their clock. Yet something in us has always wanted to count the uncountable, to trap the invisible in stone, sand, and gears. The first clocks were born not from greed for precision, but from wonder. Imagine ancient Egypt 4,000 years ago. A priest stands in the shadow of a tall stone pillar. He marks how its shadow slides slowly across carved lines in the sand. This was the earliest sundial, a mirror of the sun's journey, dividing the day into pieces of light and silence. But sundials only worked beneath the Sunday. When night fell, time disappeared. The Babylonians built water clocks where droplets fell one by one into a bowl, marking the passing hours by their sound. The Chinese designed incense clocks that released fragrances through the night, each scent a quiet announcement of time's passage. The Persians made candle clocks where the soft burn of wax became a countdown in flame. All of them, in their own way, were acts of reverence. To measure time was to speak with the cosmos. It was as if humanity, realizing its own mortality, tried to keep pace with the heavens. The ticking of clocks may seem mechanical now, but in those early days, it was spiritual. The Mayans built temples aligned with the stars, their stairways lit by the shadow of the equinox. Stonehenge stood as a calendar in rock, tracking the seasons, the solstices, and the slow heartbeat of Earth. To ancient minds, time wasn't something to manage, it was something to worship. And yet even then there was fear in it too. To count the hours was to admit that hours could end. To track the sun was to remember that it would set. Each line carved in stone was a quiet whisper of mortality. You are moving through this, and it will not last. Maybe that's why humans began to fill their lives with ceremony festivals of harvest rituals for the moon prayers for the new year. These were ways of embracing time's flow, of turning fear into rhythm. In the repetition of celebration, they found comfort. The year would end, yes, but it would also begin again. When mechanical clocks appeared in medieval Europe, something shifted. The first tower clocks didn't even have hands. They simply rang bells to mark the hours, summoning people to prayer or rest. The sound spread through the cold air like a heartbeat for the city. But by the 14th century, time began to shrink. Gears grew smaller, more precise. A second hand appeared, then another. We began to live not by sunlight but by machinery. The universe, once infinite and alive, was now divided into ticks. It was progress, but also a quiet surrender. The clock had once served the temple. Now, humanity served the clock. Factories would rise centuries later, powered by this same rhythm. Bells turned to whistles, calling workers to their shifts. Schedules ruled lives. The heartbeat of the world became industrial, predictable, repetitive, and fast. People learned to wake not with dawn, but with alarms. The night sky faded behind smoke and electricity, and yet, something inside still remembered the Sunday. If you've ever stood outside at dusk, watching the light fade from gold to violet, you felt that memory. For a few moments, the clock loses meaning. You can feel the same awe that moved the first astronomers, a quiet hum of recognition that time isn't just a number, it's a story unfolding. That story lives inside you too. Your body, in its hidden wisdom, still carries those ancient rhythms. Your heart slows in the dark. Your temperature drops at night. The hormone melatonin seeps gently into your bloodstream, whispering that it's time to rest. No clock can command it. It listens only to light and shadow, to the eternal dance that began long before calendars and watches. You are still a creature of the sun, no matter how much you chase the screen's glow. Scientists call this the circadian rhythm, but poets might call it the pulse of Earth within you. It links you to the same cycles that guided the first farmers, the same tilt of the planet that paints the seasons. Your cells know when dawn is coming, not because of alarms, but because light itself touches them through your eyes, sending a signal deep into your brain. It's a reminder that even the most modern of us are ancient beings. We carry the old clocks in our blood. When you close your eyes at night, your inner clock resets, aligning once again with the rotation of a spinning world. You drift as your ancestors did, between the known and the eternal. And if you listen closely beneath the silence, you might hear the soft ticking of your own heart, not as a countdown, but as a lullaby. There's a beautiful paradox here. The more precisely we measure time, the more we seem to lose it. You can look at your phone, your watch, your wall clock, and still have no idea where your life has gone. Moments slip through the cracks between seconds. We count, but we forget to feel. Perhaps that's why sleep feels sacred. It's the one place where time cannot follow you. No alarms, no deadlines. Only the slow rhythm of breath, the heartbeat that neither rushes nor waits. And maybe, just maybe, that's what the first clocks were really searching for. Not control, but connection. Not measurement, but meaning. The wish to feel the turning of the world and know we belong to it. So tonight, as your eyes grow heavy, imagine those first clocks, candles, melting shadows, stretching water dripping in the dark. Each drop, each flicker, each sigh of wind through the temple stones, all of it part of the same gentle rhythm that guides you now. You are part of that rhythm. You are time breathing, dreaming, alive. Let that thought drift with you into sleep. And as you do, remember, clocks may count the moments, but it's the heart that feels them. Even if you were to lock yourself away in a dark cave for months, cut off from sunrise clocks and every sound of the outside world, your body would still know when to wake, when to sleep, and when to dream. Something inside you keeps the beat even when the music of the world fades. That something is your inner rhythm, the quiet drummer that never stops playing even as you drift through silence. Scientists call it the circadian rhythm, but it feels more like a whisper, an ancient pulse, older than civilization itself. Every living thing on Earth, from the smallest algae to the tallest redwood, moves in time with the turning of the planet. The light comes and cells awaken. Darkness falls and chemistry shifts toward rest. This cycle isn't just habit, it's life's oldest memory written in molecules long before there were hearts to feel it. Inside your brain, a tiny cluster of neurons, called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, sits just above the crossing of your optic nerves, a biological conductor waving its baton in time with the Sunday. Light touches your eyes and sends a signal to that hidden maestro. Hormones rise and fall, temperature adjusts, your pulse slows or quickens. Every cell in your body receives the message the world has turned again. But what happens when you ignore it? The modern world is loud and bright, far brighter than the ancient nights our ancestors knew. We keep our skies lit with neon suns that never set. We chase productivity across time zones, stretching our days longer than nature ever intended. For the first time in history, we have defied the planet's rhythm, and our bodies are struggling to remember the old song. When you scroll through your phone at midnight, blue light floods your eyes, tricking your brain into thinking it's morning. Melatonin, the gentle hormone of sleep, retreats, like a shy animal disturbed from its den. Your heart beats faster, your mind sharpens instead of softening, and sleep slips away. You lie there, staring at the glow, caught in a kind of temporal confusion, your body believing in day, your soul longing for night. Even travelers know this intimately. Jet lag is simply your inner clock, lost between two skies, still ticking to a sunset that happened hours ago. The body doesn't travel as fast as airplanes. It takes time to catch up, to find the rhythm again. Yet this rhythm, fragile as it seems, always finds its way home. Deep within you, there are clocks upon clocks, not gears, but genes. They switch on and off in patterns that align with dawn and dusk, regulating thousands of processes you never think about. Your hunger, your mood, your body temperature, even how wounds heal. These molecular metronomes keep the body in harmony, playing their song in perfect synchronization. When scientists studied people deprived of all external cues, no light, no schedule, no sound, something beautiful happened. Even in absolute isolation, the body continued to mark its days, drifting slightly longer than 24 hours, but never losing the pattern. It's as though time itself is woven into your flesh. You don't just live in time, you are time. Your heartbeat is not random. It follows subtle cycles of activity and rest. Your breathing slows every few minutes in repeating waves, and even your dreams arrive in stages, deep, shallow, deep again, each one part of a rhythm that began long before you were born. Every creature carries its own version of this inner pulse. In the Arctic, reindeer adjust their internal clocks to survive months of darkness and light, their bodies adapting to the rhythm of seasons instead of hours. In the ocean, coral reefs release their eggs in unison once a year, guided not by temperature or tide, but by the position of the moon. In the desert cactus, flowers bloom for a single night, then close, forever, all timed with precision no human calendar could replicate. Even the plants on your windowsill are listening. Leave one near the light, and you'll see its leaves slowly rise during the day and droop at night, swaying in silence to the same cosmic rhythm that shapes your pulse. You might think you're separate, a modern being wrapped in technology, but beneath your skin, you are ancient. You still breathe in sync with the planet's turning. Your inner clock doesn't just govern biology, it shapes emotion, thought, and perception. Notice how morning feels different. The world, crisp edges, sharp thoughts, clear. By afternoon, time stretches. Your mind drifts more easily, creativity hums. At night, everything softens. The mind begins to unravel the day's knots and dreams. weight at the edge of consciousness, ready to carry you elsewhere. Psychologists have found that mood disorders, memory, and even the perception of time itself change with the disruption of this rhythm. When we lose touch with natural cycles, when light and darkness no longer balance, we lose our sense of flow. Life becomes a blur, a series of disconnected moments. But when you live in harmony with your rhythm, everything feels different. Mornings become invitations, not alarms. Nights become lullabies, not anxieties. You start to feel that life is not a race from point A to point B, but a song you are allowed to dance to one breath at a time. So tonight, as you lie here listening, try to hear that rhythm inside you, the steady murmur of blood, the slow drift of breath. Let it remind you that even when the world seems chaotic, there is still order beneath it, ancient and kind. Close your eyes. Imagine standing beneath a sky full of stars. Each heartbeat is a drum, each breath a wave, and all of them together form the softest symphony in the universe, the rhythm of being alive. You don't have to control it. You only have to feel it, because that rhythm, that quiet pulse, is proof that time isn't just something outside you, it's something you are. And as it beats softly tonight, may it guide you into the deepest kind of rest, one that isn't about sleeping through time, but sleeping within it. There's a moment in history when time itself trembled, not metaphorically, but literally. It was 1905, and a quiet man with uncombed hair sat in a small room at the Swiss patent office, staring at the steady tick of a clock on the wall. The world believed time was fixed, absolute, a river that flowed the same for everyone. But in the hum of that tiny office, Albert Einstein began to imagine something radical. What if time wasn't a river at all, but a fabric that could bend, stretch, and slow down, depending on how you moved through it? He called it relativity, but it might just as well have been called the humbling of time. Before Einstein, we thought the universe was a grand machine, ticking perfectly, every gear in sync. The sun, the planets, the clocks, all running to the same eternal beat. But Einstein noticed cracks in that perfection. When scientists measured the speed of light, they found it never changed, no matter how fast the observer was moving. It was as though light itself refused to obey human logic. And so Einstein flipped the story. Maybe it wasn't light that was strange, maybe it was time. He realized that the faster you move, the slower your time flows. That at the edge of the speed of light, a minute could stretch into a century. A heartbeat could last forever. In that single revelation, the universe exhaled. Time was no longer universal. It was intimate. It belonged to you, to your motion, to your gravity. You were no longer inside time, you were making it. It sounds abstract, but it isn't. It's happening right now. Above you in orbit, GPS satellites circle the Earth, their clocks ticking slightly faster than yours on the ground. The weaker gravity up there lets time flow more freely. If engineers didn't correct for Einstein's equations, your phone's navigation would be off by kilometers in minutes. Every time you use GPS, you are depending on relativity, on the idea that time is elastic. So the next time you look at your watch, remember, your seconds are not the same as those of a person standing on a mountain or floating in space or orbiting another planet. Time is not one thing. It is 1,000 tiny rivers flowing differently through every point of the cosmos. But Einstein's revolution didn't end with speed. He went deeper, further, until even space began to melt into something pliable and alive. He saw that matter and energy could warp the fabric of space-time itself, like a weight pressing into a stretched sheet. This was general relativity, the idea that gravity isn't a pull at all, but a curve, that the Earth doesn't orbit the sun because it's being dragged, but because it's falling forever into the well of space-time that the sun creates. In this view, you're not standing still on Earth. You're surfing the curve of the cosmos, following the geometry of time itself. Even light, the fastest thing in the universe, cannot escape that curvature. It bends around stars, curves around galaxies, and even vanishes into black holes where gravity becomes so intense that time slows to a standstill. Inside those invisible boundaries, seconds and centuries blur and perhaps never move again. Einstein didn't just change physics, he changed the way we dream. Before him, we thought of the universe as a stage where events played out. After him, we realized the stage itself was alive, stretching, folding, breathing. And if the stage breathes, then maybe time does too. Maybe time isn't a ruler to measure your life against, but a companion that moves with you, softly adjusting its steps. It means that somewhere in the universe, time may be flowing slower for a star caught in a gravity well, while on another world, it rushes forward like a river in flood. And yet across that cosmic symphony of speeds, one truth remains to each observer: their own time feels normal. That's the quiet beauty of relativity. It doesn't erase order, it personalizes it. Your heartbeat, your thoughts, your breath, they all unfold at your own tempo, a private rhythm stitched into the vast fabric of space. There's something deeply poetic in that. Einstein, for all his mathematics, never lost sight of wonder. He once said, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious." He saw that mystery not as chaos, but as elegance. The elegance of a universe that refuses to stand still, that flexes and ripples like water touched by starlight. And when you look up at the night sky, you are seeing that fabric stretched across infinity. Each glimmering star is a pocket of slowed time. Each galaxy, a whirlpool in the cosmic sea. The light you see left those stars millions of years ago. Some of it began its journey before humans existed, and yet when it touches your eyes, it does so in the only moment that is ever truly real now. The past frozen in photons, the present catching it, the future already unfolding in the wake of that touch. So what does it mean for you here now, lying in your quiet room as the world turns outside? It means that time isn't chasing you, it's dancing with you. Every thought, every sigh, every breath you take is part of that cosmic choreography. The same physics that shapes black holes is shaping the rise and fall of your chest. You are not separate from Einstein's equations, you are one of them. And if you've ever felt that time moves too quickly or too slowly, remember that feeling is real. The mind's perception and the universe's physics are both right, because there is no single time. There are as many versions of time as there are hearts that feel it. So as you close your eyes tonight, let yourself imagine floating gently through that curved space-time fabric. No clocks, no gravity, no sound, just motion without measure. You're not falling behind. You're simply following your own curve through the cosmos, one that began before you were born and will continue long after your last breath. The same way Earth follows the sun effortlessly, the same way light bends toward what it loves. In the end, Einstein's revolution wasn't just scientific, it was spiritual. He showed us that even time itself is tender. It stretches to meet us, slows to hold us, and carries us gently through its shimmering web. So, tonight, as you drift towards sleep, remember, you are not trapped in time, you are woven into it. There are seconds in life that feel endless. A falling star, a kiss that lingers, a last goodbye at a train platform, when words fail but eyes speak everything. In those suspended moments, time doesn't pass, it holds. The world seems to hush, as if the universe itself has stopped to breathe with you. Scientists say it's an illusion, a trick of perception, but maybe illusions are simply truths that can't be measured. Because when you think back, it's not the years you remember, is it? It's the flashes, the still frames, glowing in your mind, a childhood afternoon, a face in the rain, the smell of your grandmother's cooking, the sound of the ocean before sleep. Moments like that live outside the clock. They refuse to fade. They stretch across decades, waiting to be remembered. Psychologists call this time dilation. When emotion intensifies joy, fear, awe, or sorrow, your brain slows its inner metronome. The amygdala, a small almond-shaped region deep inside, floods your mind with alertness. It begins to store details in higher density colors. Sharpened sounds become crisp, sensations multiply. Later, when memory replays that scene, it feels longer because it was recorded in slow motion. That's why accidents, goodbyes, or the first moment of falling in love seem to unfold with infinite patience. Time isn't changing, you are. The mind, in its quiet brilliance, expands the moment so you can feel every heartbeat of it. But this phenomenon isn't only about extremes. It also whispers through small, beautiful things, the drift of dust in a sunbeam, the first snowfall, the pause before a song begins. These are the seconds that teach us that not all time needs to move forward. Some time is meant to rest. Monks call it presence, poets call it eternity, and physicists might call it a brief collapse of temporal awareness when the brain's perception of sequence fades and only sensation remains. In those tiny gaps, you are not remembering, not anticipating, just being. When you watch the ocean, you're not counting the waves. You're listening to the rhythm, not the duration. You're part of it. Every life is made of two kinds of time, chronos and kairos. Chronos is the time we measure the ticking, scheduling, waiting, and hurrying. It belongs to clocks and calendars. Kairos is different. It's the timeless instant when you lose track of yourself and everything simply is. Artists know this. So do lovers. So do dreamers and children chasing light in a garden. Chronos builds your days. Kairos fills your soul. You live both at once, weaving them together like two melodies that never fully align. Sometimes they clash, sometimes they harmonize. But it's in the harmony, those fleeting alignments, that life feels most alive. Neuroscientists have found that our sense of time changes with attention. When we are deeply focused, the prefrontal cortex quiets down and time vanishes. The state of flow, where you forget hunger, fatigue, even the passing of hours, is the brain's way of letting you step briefly outside the linear. Painters feel it. Writers, musicians, even athletes feel it. It's as if consciousness itself bends the rules for a while, creating a private eternity. This is why meditation, prayer, and music have always been tools for touching the infinite. They don't stop time, they simply remove its boundaries. You stop measuring and start experiencing. There's a story from Einstein's life, maybe true, maybe apocryphal, but charming all the same. A journalist once asked him to explain relativity in simple words. Einstein smiled and said, "When you sit with a pretty girl for an hour, it feels like a minute. When you sit on a hot stove for a minute, it feels like an hour." That's relativity. He wasn't joking. He was describing the same phenomenon that poets and philosophers had known for centuries: time bends, where meaning begins. When you love something, truly love it, time loses its edge. The brain stops measuring because the heart has taken over. The same applies to grief. When you lose something, you can't replace time, collapses in on itself. A single day can feel like eternity. That's not weakness. That's how consciousness honors what it can't let go. And what about dreams? In sleep, time becomes fluid. You can live an entire lifetime in a few minutes of REM sleep. You can visit the past, speak to the dead, or find yourself in a moment that never existed. The brain doesn't distinguish between the dream and the memory. It folds them together, creating continuity where none existed. That's why sometimes, when you wake, a dream feels as real as the world around you. It was real to the only observer that matters you. Dreams teach us the same lesson that physics does, that time is not absolute. It's elastic, subjective, shaped by awareness. It moves with your mind. And maybe when the mind finally rests, time rests with it. You've probably noticed how time changes as you age. When you were a child, summers lasted forever. Each day was an adventure vast and golden. Now months slip by like pages in a breeze. Psychologists call this the proportional effect. As you grow older each year, becomes a smaller fraction of your life, and so it feels shorter. But there's more to it than math. Children live inside the moment. Adults live ahead of it. We rush toward things we haven't reached yet, forgetting that we're already there. We fill our calendars, but lose our presence. Yet presence is still waiting, patient, forgiving, eternal in the smallest places. A cup of tea, a quiet breath, a glance through a window at falling rain. You can reclaim the longness of time whenever you decide to stop measuring it. So before you close your eyes tonight, take a moment to stretch the seconds. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Listen to the faint sounds around you, the hum of the night, the rhythm of your heart. These are moments that don't belong to the clock. They belong to you. Somewhere across the vast universe, a star that died 1 billion years ago is still sending its light toward you. And when that photon touches your eye, it completes its journey through time. For that instant, you and the ancient star exist together, not separated by distance, but united by now. That's what forever really is. It isn't endless time. It's the depth of one perfect moment fully lived. Let that be your lullaby tonight, that forever isn't later. It's here. Close your eyes for a moment. Let the air around you soften. Let the hum of the world fade until all that's left is your breath, gentle, rhythmic, endless. This is where time begins to blur. This is the frontier between waking and dreaming. In this quiet threshold, clocks stop mattering. The steady ticking fades into silence. The mind unfastens itself from the rules of physics, drifting into something fluid, a space where minutes can stretch into eternities and years can vanish in the blink of an eye. This is the kingdom of dreams. And here time does not flow, it folds. When you dream, your brain builds worlds out of thin air. Entire landscapes, histories, faces, even emotions that feel ancient and real. Yet these vast experiences often last only seconds in real time. Neuroscientists studying REM sleep, the rapid eye movement phase where most vivid dreaming happens, have found that a dream that feels like hours might occupy only a few minutes of neural activity. It's as if consciousness compresses and expands its own reality at will. Inside a dream, the past and future overlap like layers of light. You might walk through your childhood home and find your adult self sitting in the same room. You might fall from a mountain and find yourself swimming in the sea below without ever hitting the ground. You might speak with people who are gone, and yet somehow they know you're dreaming. The dream doesn't obey sequence, it obeys emotion. Time in dreams bends toward feeling. Why does it happen? Because while you sleep, the brain's internal clock, the prefrontal cortex, and other regions responsible for logical order quiet down. The areas tied to memory, emotion, and imagery grow louder, flooding the stage with colors and symbols. The linear timeline dissolves, and what's left is pure association sound, leading to image memory, leading to possibility. In waking life, we navigate by rules. In dreams, we navigate by meaning. If the mind wants to heal, it creates closure. If the heart wants to remember, it resurrects. If the soul wants to explore, it invents. So when you find yourself dreaming of someone you've lost, don't dismiss it as random chemistry. It might be your consciousness taking a long walk through memory, trying to feel something the waking world no longer offers. Some scientists describe dreams as the mind's recycling system, a way to organize experiences, file emotions, and reinforce learning. But mystics see something deeper. They believe dreams are a bridge, a passageway where the soul whispers what the waking mind refuses to hear. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were messages from the gods, glimpses of a world beyond the Sunday. In ancient China, emperors consulted dream interpreters before making decisions of war and peace. In Islamic tradition, dreams are divided into three kinds: those from God, those from the self, and those from whispering spirits. Across cultures, one truth repeats: dreams are not bound by clocks because they do not belong to the material world. They belong to the space between where eternity hides inside every second. Time inside dreams is not just flexible, it's emotional. When you dream of falling, it can take an eternity to reach the ground. When you run from something unseen, it feels endless. When you hold someone you love, it feels like it could last forever, even though outside the dream, it may have lasted only a heartbeat. Studies have shown that our emotional centers like the amygdala and hippocampus remain active in dreams. They color every moment with significance, making each second stretch or contract depending on how deeply it matters to us. It's as if dreams know how precious certain feelings are, and they slow down time to let us linger in them a little longer. And then there are lucid dreams, when you realize you're dreaming and can shape what happens next. In these moments, the mind becomes both creator and explorer. You can fly, walk on water, visit a lost memory, or simply stand still and feel the air of a world that doesn't exist. Even in that awareness, time remains strange. You may feel the dream unfolding for hours, only to wake and find mere minutes have passed. Lucid dreamers trained in sleep labs have learned to communicate with scientists by moving their eyes in coded patterns while asleep. They answer questions, solve problems, even count seconds in dream time, and what they find is astonishing. Though dream time often expands or contracts, it still follows rhythm. The mind, even untethered, never stops keeping time, it just invents its own tempo. Dreams remind us that consciousness isn't a prisoner of linear time. They show us that awareness can exist in multiple timelines, at once past, present, imagined, and symbolic. In the dream, you are both child and elder, both beginning and ending, both memory and creation. It's why dreams feel more like stories being told by the universe than experiences you simply have. Somewhere in you, the storyteller never sleeps. When you wake, the memory of a dream dissolves quickly, often within minutes, but sometimes a single image lingers a doorway. You didn't walk through a word you can't quite remember, a face that smiled just before vanishing. Scientists think this forgetfulness is a feature, not a flaw. It keeps the boundaries between dream and waking life intact, preventing confusion. But poets suspect something else, that dreams are meant to fade like mist, so you can chase them again the next night. After all, if we remembered every dream perfectly, reality might lose its edge. It's the vanishing that gives them power, the sense that they're always calling you back. Tonight, as you drift, imagine yourself sinking into that timeless sea. Each thought becomes a ripple, each memory a star beneath the water. You are floating in a place where yesterday and tomorrow dissolve into soft light. Here you can travel anywhere, to the past you miss, to the future you imagine, or to the version of yourself who has already found peace. You don't have to hurry. There are no hours here. Only the slow rhythm of breathing, the rise and fall of your chest, the oldest clock in existence. And as sleep begins to claim you, remember this. Dreams are proof that time is not a boundary but a language. And tonight, as you drift beyond clocks and calendars, you're learning how to speak it. Because in the realm of dreams, there is no before or after. There is only forever now. There is a peculiar kind of gravity that doesn't pull on your body but on your thoughts. The gravity of waiting. You know the feeling. The moment before a message arrives. The pause before a doctor calls your name. The seconds before someone you love finally appears at the gate. Those instants stretch slow, and thicken like honey. The air feels heavier. You check the clock, but the hands barely move. We call it impatience, boredom, or anxiety. But at its core, waiting is an experiment in subjective physics, a demonstration that time, though universal in equations, is personal in experience. It doesn't flow the same for everyone. It bends toward emotion, stretching in uncertainty, collapsing in joy. When you wait, you become a scientist of your own perception. From a biological view, time feels slower when your attention is trapped in the present with nowhere else to go. The brain's internal metronome, a pattern of pulses produced in regions like the basal ganglia and cerebellum, begins to overcount. Each heartbeat, each flicker of movement becomes its own event. The more you notice, the longer each second seems. This is why silence in an elevator feels endless, and why 2 minutes of meditation can feel eternal to a restless mind. The brain is filling the empty space with awareness. It's stretching time to make sense of stillness. The paradox is beautiful. When nothing happens, you begin to feel everything. The ancient Greeks feared waiting. They believed that stillness tempted the gods to intervene. But philosophers like Epicurus and later Buddhist thinkers found grace in it. They called it ataraxia, the calm state of being untouched by disturbance. When you stop resisting the pause, waiting becomes something else entirely, a teacher. It shows you the difference between passing time and living it. In the modern world, we run from waiting. We scroll, refresh, multitask, anything to avoid the empty seconds between events. But those seconds are not empty at all. They are the architecture of awareness, the frame that gives shape to meaning. Imagine a song with no rests between notes, a painting with no shadows, a life with no pauses. It would be chaos, pure noise. Waiting is what makes movement beautiful. Physics, in its own strange way, agrees. According to Einstein's relativity, time slows down the closer you move to a massive object or the faster you travel. But psychological studies reveal a parallel time also slows down under emotional gravity when attention and anticipation collapse inward. In both cases, perception and gravity do the same thing: they curve time. When you wait for something you love, time elongates because your awareness is stretched toward the future. Your mind projects itself into what's coming, leaving only a thin thread behind to anchor you in the present. That stretch is the same kind of distortion that bends light around stars. It's the universe whispering its laws through your feelings. Waiting is relativity made human. There's another reason time dilates during waiting: uncertainty. The brain is a prediction machine. It craves patterns, cause, and effect. But when it cannot predict what will happen next, it begins to loop, running simulations, counting, imagining, replaying. That loop consumes more mental energy, and the perception of duration expands. This is why waiting for pain feels longer than waiting for pleasure, and why suspense in a story holds us captive. Our minds are addicted to resolution, and time stretches until it arrives. Neuroscientists have observed this in brain scans. Areas linked to attention and reward light up during uncertain anticipation, as if your brain were standing on its toes. Time lengthens not because it changes, but because you're trying to catch it in the act of changing. But not all waiting is suffering. Some of it is sacred. When a seed waits underground, it's not idle. It's gathering potential, transforming silence into readiness. When a caterpillar waits in its cocoon, it's dissolving itself, becoming something unimaginable. When winter waits for spring, it's not sleeping, it's storing energy for bloom. The universe itself waited. For 3,8,0,0,0,0 years after the Big Bang, light could not travel freely. It was trapped in the fog of newborn matter. The cosmos waited for clarity. And when that fog lifted, photons raced across space, some of which are reaching your eyes tonight as starlight. So perhaps waiting is not emptiness at all, but incubation. The pause before transformation. There's a gentle art to waiting well. The trick is not to measure time, but to inhabit it. When you resist the urge to count the minutes, the mind begins to see the details hidden in stillness. The play of light on a wall, the hum of the refrigerator, the rhythm of your breath. The moment ceases to be a hallway between two events. It becomes its own room, spacious, alive whole. This is the quiet secret of monks and dreamers. Eternity isn't found in movement, it's found in pause. Modern psychologists have even coined a term for the healing power of slow-time temporal mindfulness. It's the practice of noticing the texture of a moment without labeling it as long or short, good or bad. People who cultivate this awareness report that their anxiety decreases, creativity increases, and even their sense of meaning deepens. In other words, learning to wait is learning to live. When you surrender the illusion of control, something remarkable happens. The future, that distant promise you were chasing, begins to come toward you instead. Like waves to a shore, it arrives on its own time. Try this tonight. Close your eyes and listen. Find that one slow breath between the inhale and the exhale, the pause where nothing happens. Stay there. That's waiting in its purest form, the present held in suspension. If you can rest there for even a few seconds, you'll feel something extraordinary, the stillness beneath all motion. And in that stillness, time stops feeling like a hallway of clocks and starts to feel like a heartbeat, constant, patient, forgiving. You are not late, you are not early, you are exactly where time wants you to be. So wait, not as someone trapped in delay, but as someone sitting beside eternity watching it breathe. Because the truth is simple and profound. Waiting is not the absence of time. It is the moment when time finally notices you. Every morning when sunlight touches your window, you are witnessing a miracle so common we forget it's impossible to reverse. The light that warms your skin has traveled millions of years, from the heart of the sun moving forward, never once looking back. It is the same with everything around you. Your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts, all unfolding in one direction only, forward. Physicists call this phenomenon the arrow of time. It means that everything in the universe, from galaxies to teacups, moves toward greater disorder. Drop a glass and it shatters. Watch a fire burn and the wood turns to ash. You never see the glass reassemble or the smoke curl neatly back into the log. Time has a bias toward change, toward decay, toward the endless blooming and fading of reality itself. But why? Why does time only move forward? Why can't we travel to yesterday or live a moment twice? The answer lies in a concept as quiet and relentless as gravity itself: entropy. Entropy is the universe's tendency toward chaos, not in a violent way, but in a natural, graceful spreading out of energy. Imagine spilling a cup of ink into water. The dark tendrils swirl outward until the color is everywhere, evenly mixed. That's entropy in motion. Energy diffusing. Order dissolving into possibility. Every second, every breath, every flicker of light you see is part of that process. The universe began in unimaginable order, dense, hot, symmetrical. Since then, it has been unfolding, cooling, expanding, becoming more complex, but also more disordered. And that unfolding is time. Entropy doesn't just describe time's direction, it creates it. The reason you remember the past, but not the future, is because the past is lower in entropy, more ordered, more fixed. The future hasn't happened yet, because it contains countless possibilities all waiting to scatter. Time, then, is the sound of the universe exhaling. It's strange to think that something so abstract governs every heartbeat you take. Each time your heart pumps, energy moves from order to disorder. Each breath you exhale releases heat, that will never return to you. Even your memories, the neurons firing the chemicals binding, are tiny entropic acts, rearranging the structure of your brain to store a fleeting image of what once was. To live is to burn gently against the flow of chaos, but don't mistake entropy for destruction. Without it, there would be no stars, no waves, no life at all. Entropy is what allows things to happen. Without the universe's slow march toward disorder, nothing would move, nothing would change. Everything would remain frozen in perfect stillness. And what is life, if not change? Einstein once said, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." Yet even he could not deny the thermodynamic truth that something deep in the universe insists on direction. It's the reason ice melts, but doesn't refreeze itself. The reason perfume spreads, but never concentrates again. The reason you can grow old, but never young. And yet in that inevitability lies beauty. Because entropy, for all its cold mathematics, gives meaning to impermanence. A flower is beautiful because it will wilt. A sunset moves us because it will fade. A heartbeat is precious because it will stop. If time could reverse, if nothing ever ended, beauty would vanish into sameness. Entropy is the painter of contrast, the invisible artist behind every transient miracle. But physicists still argue, if the laws of nature work perfectly backward, if equations don't care about direction, why can't we? Why does time flow one way in our minds, when in mathematics it can run both ways? Some suggest that consciousness is the missing piece. The brain, after all, is a physical system that depends on entropy too. Each moment you experience requires the firing of billions of neurons which generate heat-release energy and increase disorder. Perhaps we feel time because our very act of living amplifies its arrow. We are entropy machines, beautiful ones. Our awareness depends on the universe's one-way current. So maybe we can't turn time back, not because the universe forbids it, but because we are the flow itself. In the far future, long after the stars burn out, physicists predict a final quietness, a state called heat death. No energy gradients, no usable light, no more contrast. The universe will still exist, but nothing within it will change. No clocks will tick, no eyes will see, no thoughts will stir. It will be a stillness beyond imagination, perfect equilibrium, perfect silence. And yet even that end is not tragic, because it means everything that ever lived, ever burned, ever dreamed has played its part in the grand unraveling. Each of us is a spark in the slow fire of entropy, a moment of resistance before the inevitable calm. The universe needs that spark to know itself, to feel its own unfolding. But for now we live far from that final stillness. We wake, we move, we laugh, we love. We add warmth to the world with every touch and thought. And in doing so, we leave tiny ripples in time ripples that will never be undone. Every smile, every word, every kindness you share increases the universe's disorder just a little, but also its meaning. Perhaps entropy and love are not opposites at all, but partners. Entropy ensures that nothing lasts forever. Love ensures that nothing is ever truly lost. So tonight, don't fear the arrow of time. It doesn't rush you, it carries you. It's not a thief, but a guide. Each moment you live is a unique configuration of the universe, one that will never happen again. Lie still for a moment. Feel the weight of your body against the bed, the slow movement of your breath, the warmth gathering around you. That's entropy at work, the gentle spreading of life's heat. The universe through you, learning what it means to exist. And as you drift towards sleep, let this thought comfort you. The arrow of time doesn't aim toward ending, it aims toward understanding. And you, for this brief, luminous instant, are the arrow itself. Close your eyes and listen to the ticking of a clock. Now imagine it stopping the hands, frozen the gears still. Yet inside your head, another clock keeps moving. It doesn't tick or hum. It's silent, soft, and ancient. It's the biological timekeeper buried deep within the folds of your brain, the invisible heartbeat that lets you feel duration, sequence, and rhythm even when no sound or light reminds you. You carry it everywhere, but you've never seen it. Because time, in its purest form, doesn't live in the sky or on your wrist. It lives in you. Scientists once believed that humans sense time the way we sense light or sound, through an organ or receptor. But time has no color, no taste, no vibration. There is no time sense organ. Instead, the brain constructs time like a story, piecing it together from motion, memory, and expectation. In the 1,990 seconds, neuroscientists discovered small networks inside the basal ganglia cerebellum and prefrontal cortex that work together to estimate time. They pulse in repeating patterns, rhythmic bursts of electrical activity, forming a kind of internal metronome. These pulses speed up or slow down, depending on attention, emotion, or fatigue. When you're focused or anxious, the pulses quicken, making time feel longer. When you're calm or distracted, they drift, making hours vanish in a breath. Your experience of time, then, isn't measured by the universe. It's composed by your mind. There's another hidden keeper of rhythm, the hippocampus, the brain's archivist of memory. Every moment you live passes through it, where neurons record the order of events like beads on a thread. If the hippocampus is damaged, memory fragments, and so does time itself. Days blur, moments lose sequence, the self begins to dissolve. Without memory, there is no before or after, only the eternal now. That's why patients with amnesia often describe life as an endless present. They're awake, aware, and conscious, but trapped in a loop that never moves. For them, time has stopped, not in the world, but in the mind's map of it. Time is not an external current you float in. It's a rhythm you generate. Think about music. When a melody plays, you anticipate the next note. You don't just hear it, you predict it. The brain is constantly leaning forward in time, sculpting expectation out of silence. This ability to anticipate is one of the mind's greatest gifts. It's how dancers move to rhythm, how birds fly in sync, how language makes sense, one word after another. Without prediction, the world would be noise, a chaos of unconnected sounds and flashes. Inside you, milliseconds before something happens, neurons already fire in preparation. You live slightly ahead of the present, always a fraction of a second into the future. Your consciousness is not a mirror, it's a projection. But if the brain predicts too far, the illusion cracks. That's when déjà vu appears, a glitch in the timing system. Signals meant for short-term memory get rerouted to long-term storage for a split second, tricking you into thinking you've lived a moment before. It's not magic, it's missynchronization. A reminder that even the most elegant clock can skip a beat. People under certain neurological conditions, temporal lobe epilepsy, Parkinson's, schizophrenia, often report distorted time. Seconds expand days, compress thoughts, echo in loops. The brain, unmoored from its rhythm, can make eternity out of minutes or erase hours in a blink. Time perception, fragile as it is, can unravel like thread. And yet this fragility reveals something profound. Time is not a cosmic constant, it's a state of mind. Researchers at the University of California once asked participants to estimate 1 minute while sitting in silence. Some said it felt like 10 seconds. Others swore it lasted 5 minutes. Brain scans showed that those who felt time passing faster had stronger dopamine activity, the chemical of reward and curiosity. Dopamine speeds up the internal clock, making time fly when you're happy, engaged, or in love. It slows when you're bored or depressed. So yes, time really does fly when you're having fun. Your joy literally accelerates your perception of existence. The philosopher Augustine wrote, "What then is time? If no one asks me, I know. If I wish to explain it, I do not know." He wasn't confused. He was describing exactly what neuroscience proves today. We don't measure time. We feel it, build it, forget it, and remake it again every moment. We're composers of an invisible symphony that keeps us in motion. Even animals share this gift. Birds migrate by sensing seasonal rhythms. Bees remember the timing of flowers that bloom. Dogs know when you're due home because their bodies learn your patterns. Every living creature carries a silent drummer within. Time is nature's most universal music, but there is something uniquely human about the way we dream of bending it. We build calendars, clocks, and atomic oscillators, instruments far more precise than any brain, and yet they can never match the nuance of a single heartbeat. Machines can measure, but they can't feel. You, on the other hand, can stretch a second into eternity by falling in love, or collapse an hour into nothing by staring at the night sky. Your brain's rhythm is poetry disguised as biology. And sometimes, when you're half asleep, hovering between waking and dreaming, you may notice it, the throb of your pulse in your fingertips, the soft echo of your breath inside your ears, the rise and fall of your chest. That's time in its rawest form, not counted but experienced. Perhaps the truest measure of a life is not how many years it contains, but how deeply each second is felt. Every heartbeat is a moment written into the universe's memory, a vibration carried outward in ripples that never truly fade. Your brain may lose count, but the cosmos remembers. So tonight, let your mind's clocks rest. Let them stop counting. Feel the pulse beneath your ribs and the warmth behind your eyes. That's the deep time, the kind that doesn't tick but hums. Time in the deep brain isn't rushing you, it's holding you. It's the quiet rhythm of existence itself, patient, ancient, infinite. And when you finally drift into sleep, remember, you're not escaping time. You're returning to the place where it begins. There's a peculiar quietness that comes when you pause long enough to notice the moment you're in a stillness between thoughts, between breaths. If you stay there just for a heartbeat longer, you might sense something extraordinary, that this right now is all there ever truly is. The past is memory, the future is imagination, and the present, this flickering, fragile instant, is eternity in disguise. We call it the present moment, but that phrase is misleading. Moment sounds like something short, passing, already gone. Yet, mystics and scientists alike have begun to realize that the present isn't small or fleeting at all. It's vast. It's the stage upon which every thought, every memory, every dream is performed. You've never actually left it. You've only drifted in and out of noticing. When physicists describe the universe, they speak of space-time, a single fabric woven from 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time. In this tapestry, all events past and future exist simultaneously, like threads already stitched into the grand design. From this cosmic perspective, the present isn't a moving point sliding through time. It's a spotlight of consciousness, illuminating one patch of reality at a time. You are that light. And when your attention narrows to this instant, the sound of your breath, the pulse in your wrist, the weight of gravity holding you gently to the earth, you are aligned perfectly with the flow of the universe. Everything else falls away, plans, regrets, the ache of what could have been. The present is not something you reach, it's something you remember. Neuroscientists estimate that human consciousness lags slightly behind the real world about 1/10 of a second. Your brain gathers input, processes it, and then delivers an edited version to you. That means the now you experience is technically a tiny echo, a gentle delay, like hearing your own voice return from a canyon wall. But here's the miracle. Even knowing this, it still feels immediate. Your mind in its infinite grace lets you live inside that illusion. It hides the delay so you can feel life unfold in real time, so that you can say, "I am here," and believe it. This is the eternal present, not the objective second on a clock, but the felt sense of being alive. Spiritual traditions have tried to describe this state for thousands of years. Buddhists call it sati, mindful awareness. Hindu sages speak of Sat-Chit Ananda, being consciousness bliss. Christian mystics called it the sacrament of the moment. And philosophers from Spinoza to Tolle have said the same thing in different tongues, that eternity is not endless time, but depth of presence. To live fully is to wake up right now to the miracle that you exist at all. It's why meditation feels timeless, not because you escape time, but because you sink into its core. The mind stops measuring. The self stops narrating. Awareness simply is. Yet most of us rarely taste this kind of now. We race ahead, always reaching for something, a goal, a reply, an end. We live inside calendars and reminders, jumping from one anticipation to another. Our minds split the world into what has happened and what might. And somewhere between those two ghosts, the real world passes unseen. It's no wonder we feel tired. We've mistaken motion for meaning, but the present is always waiting, quiet, patient, forgiving. It doesn't care how long you've been gone. You can return to it at any time, with a breath, with a glance, with a single, sincere awareness that you're still here. Scientists studying flow states the absorption artists and athletes feel, when completely engaged, have found that brain activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for self-reflection and time tracking, temporarily shuts down. In that silence, the boundaries between doer and action dissolve. Time slows or disappears entirely. It's the same state described by mystics lost in prayer, or by a child so absorbed in play they forget the day is ending. Different paths, same destination. The doorway to eternity isn't hidden in the stars. It's right in front of your eyes, disguised as ordinary presence. Consider how your senses already know this truth. When you taste something delicious, you don't think this will be gone soon. You just taste. When sunlight touches your eyelids, you don't analyze photons. You simply feel warmth. In those tiny moments, you are awake. And in that wakefulness, time stops dividing itself into before and after. Even memory is born from the present. You recall the past now. You dream of the future now. Everything you've ever experienced has happened right here, in this same luminous instant. It's almost funny we chase enlightenment across lifetimes, only to realize it was never somewhere else. In physics, time's direction depends on entropy. Things move from order to disorder, from simplicity to complexity. But consciousness doesn't seem to obey that rule. Awareness doesn't age. You, the witness behind your thoughts, are the same presence that watched your first sunrise, the same that reads these words now. The body changes, the memories shift, but the eye that notices them feels timeless. It's as if behind the moving clockwork of life, there's an unmoving watcher, not outside time, but made of it, in its stillest form. Maybe that's what mystics call the soul, the part of you that never left the present. If you want to glimpse this eternity, you don't need rituals or distant galaxies. Just stop right now. Listen, feel the air entering your lungs, the faint vibration of your heartbeat. Notice the spaces between sounds, the silence that holds them together. That silence is ancient. It's the same silence that existed before the first star formed. It's still here, inside you, under the noise of thought. When you touch it, you realize something humbling. The present doesn't need you to fill it. It is already complete. Time as physics sees, it may stretch, bend, or loop. But the present, your experience of it is infinite. Every second you truly inhabit expands, becoming as wide as the cosmos itself. The only reason it feels small is because we forget to notice it. So tonight, as the world quiets and the clocks fade into background hum, try not to chase tomorrow or mourn yesterday. Just rest in this one unrepeatable instant. Because beneath all our stories and theories, beneath relativity and clocks, there is only this, a universe unfolding exactly where you are. And this moment, the one touching you right now, will last forever if you let it. You don't need a spaceship, a black hole, or an atomic clock to feel Einstein's universe. You're living inside it already. Everyday time bends ever so slightly around you. Every breath, every heartbeat, every step you take is part of a cosmic choreography so precise that even your morning coffee participates in relativity. It sounds impossible, but it's true. Time isn't the same everywhere, not even between the floor and the ceiling of your room. The difference is microscopic, yet measurable. The higher you stand, the faster your clock ticks. The closer you are to Earth's center, the slower time flows. That means your head is living a few trillionths of a second ahead of your feet. Your heart, depending on where you are, might beat slightly slower in a valley than on a mountain. Time literally stretches and contracts around you, invisibly constantly. When scientists built the world's most precise atomic clocks so sensitive, they would lose less than a second over the age of the universe. They placed one on a shelf just a few centimeters higher than another. After running for months, the clocks disagreed. The one higher up, experiencing slightly weaker gravity, had aged faster. You wouldn't notice, of course. You wouldn't feel older standing on a step. But physics doesn't care about perception. The universe records everything. This means that each of us moving through our days, walking upstairs, climbing hills, flying in planes, is living at a subtly different speed of time. No two people have ever experienced the same duration. Your life, your memories, your very heartbeat exist on a unique timeline carved into the fabric of space-time, one that no one else has ever occupied or ever will. You are quite literally your own universe. It's a strange thought, but comforting too. Because relativity, when brought down from the stars to your kitchen, becomes less about equations and more about empathy. Every person you meet moves through their own clock. Someone waiting for news in a hospital feels time stretch painfully long. Someone laughing with friends feels it disappear. A child counting days until their birthday measures time differently from an elder watching seasons blur. In both physics and lifetime depends on where you stand. Einstein didn't invent that truth, he revealed it. And once you start seeing it, you can never unsee it. You begin to notice how the mind creates its own gravity wells. Anxiety, sadness, and grief make moments heavy, pulling you into slow motion. Love, curiosity, and awe lift you, making time light and quick. You are a pocket of space-time with emotional mass. Your feelings warp your inner clock, just as planets warp the cosmic one. That's relativity too. Sometimes people imagine Einstein's equations as cold numbers without humanity. But behind those symbols was a man who daydreamed. He once said that his discoveries were born not from mathematics, but from imagination. He pictured himself chasing a beam of light through space. He asked childlike questions. What would a clock look like if I moved as fast as its hands? Would a person on a train and someone on the platform ever agree on the same now? Those questions sound simple, yet they changed everything. They showed that there is no single universal now. Each observer carries their own. Your present moment is not mine. Your lifetime moves at its own tempo, slightly apart from the rest of existence. And still somehow we find ways to meet, to synchronize our inner clocks through touch, speech, memory, love. There's beauty in that. When you hold someone close, you are literally bringing two timelines into proximity, letting your heartbeats align for a few precious seconds. Your bodies exchange warmth molecules, gravity, and in doing so, your personal universes intersect. It's not poetic exaggeration, it's physics. The attraction between two bodies, gravitational or emotional, always bends time. When two people fall in love, their sense of time changes, hours vanish, days blur. The brain releases dopamine and oxytocin chemicals that alter the perception of duration. You've probably felt it, that floating feeling where minutes feel like seconds. That's relativity of the heart. And when love ends, or distance grows, time stretches painfully again. The seconds seem longer, nights feel endless. It's as if the universe reclaims what it once lent the illusion of timelessness. But even in that ache lies truth, that connection bends time, that emotion reshapes perception. Einstein's equations describe space-time as a fabric woven by matter, but perhaps the emotional universe, the one we live inside, is woven by memory and meaning. Both respond to gravity, both respond to love. Let's make this more human still. Right now, as you listen, your body is keeping time in hundreds of rhythms. Your circadian cycle hums in 24-hour loops. Your heart beats around once a second. Your neurons pulse in thousandths of a second. Each layer moves at a different scale, and yet together they harmonize. It's like an orchestra, cells, molecules, atoms, all playing their parts in the grand composition of you. And what binds them all isn't a conductor or a clock. It's relativity at the smallest scale, energy, gravity, motion flow. You are a local curvature in the fabric of time. A ripple of awareness that moves, slows, and quickens in response to life. So when you feel the hours rushing or dragging, remember this. It's not time that changes, it's your relationship with it. The next time you climb a mountain, pause at the top. Know that for that brief moment, you're aging faster than everyone below. The sky feels lighter because it is. Gravity loosens its hold. And maybe that's what peace really is, not escaping time but rising just high enough to let it flow a little freer. Einstein once wrote to a friend, grieving a loved one. For us believing physicists, the distinction between past, present, and future is only an illusion, though a persistent one. He didn't mean that life and loss weren't real. He meant that the bonds we form, the moments we live, are part of the same eternal fabric. The people you've loved aren't gone in time. They've simply stepped into another region of space-time's curve. And one day, you'll follow not backward, but deeper into the same fabric. Because time, whether cosmic or human, is not something that flows past you. It's something that unfolds through you. And in that unfolding everything, physics, love, loss, laughter, becomes the same gentle truth. You are at home in the universe, and the universe is at home in you. Every time you remember something, you travel. Not across distance, but across the invisible landscape of your own mind. You step backward through a door that no longer exists, and yet the moment you pass through it, everything feels real again. The smell, the light, the heartbeat of the world as it once was. Your brain does not replay, it recreates. In that act of remembering, time is born again. Memory is not a recording, not a film stored in some dusty cabinet of the brain. It's more like a painting that changes every time you look at it, the brushstrokes rearranging themselves according to who you are today. When you recall your childhood, your neurons are not retrieving a frozen file. They are rebuilding it from fragments, emotions, sensory echoes, and imagination. You don't travel to the past, you rebuild it in the present. Each recollection is a collaboration between who you were and who you've become. And that's why memories fade or distort. They're not mistakes, they're evolving truths. The past is alive, remade, each time it's remembered. Deep in the brain, the hippocampus and amygdala work together like artists, painting with light and feeling. The hippocampus lays out the structure, the when and where. The amygdala adds the colors of emotion, fear, joy, longing. When the two dance in harmony, you feel not just the memory, but its pulse. When one falters, memory becomes ghostly flat, stripped of time. It's why some memories come rushing back in vivid flashes. A song, a scent, a taste suddenly triggers a cascade of neural sparks. In an instant, the hippocampus reactivates the network of neurons that once fired together. You're not just thinking of the past, you're reliving it. To your brain, the difference between memory and experience is smaller than you might think. That's why the scent of rain can pull you decades back to a forgotten afternoon. Why a half-heard melody can make your eyes water without knowing why. In those seconds, the brain doesn't distinguish between now and then. The present moment becomes crowded with ghosts of your own, making fragments of yourself suspended in time. You are a constellation of remembered light flickering with every thought. When memory breaks, time breaks with it. For those with Alzheimer's or other degenerative diseases, days no longer line up in order. Faces blur names, vanish, and moments repeat like a skipping record. It's heartbreaking, yes, but it also reveals a secret truth: time as we know it only exists because we remember. Without memory, every second would be an isolated spark, burning bright and then vanishing into darkness. The brain's ability to link one spark to another is what creates continuity, what makes life a story instead of a storm of sensations. In this way, memory is the author of time. Every chapter you recall adds another line to the narrative of who you are. But memory doesn't only look backward. It also looks forward. Neuroscientists have discovered that when you imagine the future, your brain activates the same regions it uses to recall the past. The hippocampus lights up identically, whether you're remembering yesterday or envisioning tomorrow. Your mind uses the architecture of memory to build possibility. In other words, you cannot imagine the future without borrowing pieces of the past. Dreams of what's ahead are mosaics made from what has already been. Time in your head is a circle. This is why nostalgia feels both sweet and painful. It isn't just longing for what's gone, it's a quiet recognition that you carry that moment inside you always. The ache isn't loss, it's contact. You are touching the edges of the time you once lived. Psychologists call this mental time travel. It's a distinctly human gift. The ability to wander freely between was, is, and might be. But it's also a burden. We are the only creatures aware that time moves, and that we move with it. Our memories remind us of who we've been, but they also whisper of who we'll never be again. And still, we remember. Because without that remembering, life would have no continuity, just flashes of light with no thread to hold them. Every photograph, every story you tell, every thought that begins with, "Do you remember?" is an act of resistance against entropy. It's your way of keeping the arrow of time from scattering everything you love. Each memory shared is a small defiance, a moment retrieved from the river's flow and held however briefly in your hands. And when you tell that memory to someone else, something magical happens. Your brain synchronizes with theirs. Neural patterns align. For a heartbeat, you and another consciousness inhabit the same moment across time. That is how stories bind us, they merge timelines. Maybe that's what love really is, shared memory that refuses to decay. But memory is more than recollection, it's creation. Every night during sleep, the brain replays the day's events in faint electrical storms. It edits, compresses, and files them into long-term storage. Dreams are part of this process, the mind weaving the emotional threads into something coherent. You wake up a slightly different person than the one who fell asleep. The brain has rewritten your story overnight. And so each morning, you are a new version of yourself, built upon every memory you've ever kept or lost. If this all sounds fragile, it is. But it's also beautiful, because memory in its impermanence gives meaning to presence. You remember not to preserve life exactly as it was, but to understand it more deeply as it changes. Every recall, every retelling, is a reweaving of the fabric proof that time and consciousness are partners forever editing one another. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine your memories as constellations not frozen but alive, pulsing with energy. Each one a small sun lighting the darkness within you. You can visit them whenever you wish, not by turning back time but by letting them rise again in the sky of your mind. Because memory is not a doorway to the past. It's the light by which you navigate the present. And somewhere inside you, glowing softly, endlessly, is every moment you've ever lived waiting to be remembered again. If you could shrink yourself down smaller than a dust mote, smaller than a virus, smaller even than the atoms that make up your blood, you would arrive at a realm where time begins to behave like a dream. The laws of cause and effect blur, and the universe no longer insists that events happen in one neat direction. Welcome to the quantum world, the secret playground of subatomic travelers that make up everything you see and everything you are. Down here, particles refuse to stay still. They flicker in and out of existence, vanish, reappear, and sometimes behave as though they remember futures that haven't happened yet. They are not bound to the clock, you know. To them, seconds and centuries are the same mist rippling in all directions at once. Physicists used to believe that the world beneath atoms was orderly small billiard balls, bouncing predictably. But when scientists looked closer, they found something much stranger. Particles like electrons don't follow clear paths. They exist in superpositions, occupying many possible states at once. It's only when we measure, that they seem to choose a position in time and space. Before that, they are clouds of probability, shimmering possibilities that stretch across past and future simultaneously. Observation doesn't just reveal reality, it creates it. Imagine tossing a coin, but instead of landing on heads or tails, it remains both until you glance at it. That's quantum life. The moment you observe it, you collapse the wave of possibilities into one outcome, and that collapse defines now. If that sounds mystical, it's because it almost is. At the quantum level, reality doesn't unfold like a film strip frame by frame. It behaves more like a song, where every note exists together, but you only hear one at a time. Particles don't march through time like soldiers. They dance in it forward and backward spinning, in patterns we can only glimpse through mathematics. Some experiments suggest that certain quantum processes, like entanglement, can transmit information instantaneously, as if two particles separated by galaxies still share the same heartbeat. When one changes, the other responds, no matter the distance, no matter the delay. Einstein himself called it spooky action at a distance. But maybe it isn't spooky at all. Maybe to those particles, distance and time are illusions, conveniences our larger brains use to make sense of what they can't truly feel. Let's slow down and imagine what that means. Somewhere in your body, billions of particles are constantly flickering between states, interacting through tiny forces that don't respect the arrow of time. Some of them may be entangled with particles born in distant stars still linked through invisible threads. Right now, inside your atoms, a piece of the universe's beginning is still humming the same vibration it sang when the first light appeared. When you move your hand, when you breathe, when you dream, quantum particles respond faster than light could travel. They do not move through time. They exist within it entirely. That means every moment you live, every breath you take, contains traces of every moment that has ever been. You are not simply made of matter. You are made of memory written in particles that never truly forget. There's another strange discovery: particles sometimes behave as if they can anticipate the future. In experiments known as the delayed choice tests, Scientists sent single photons, particles of light, through devices that could switch measurement settings after the photons had already passed through. Unbelievably, the photons seemed to know what kind of measurement would be made and adjusted their behavior accordingly, as if decisions in the present were influencing the past. No one can fully explain how. But it hints at something profound, that time may not be a one-way street even for us. Perhaps information flows in both directions, weaving the past and future together into the seamless illusion we call now. To a photon, after all, time doesn't pass at all. It moves at the speed of light, the cosmic speed limit, where time stands still completely. From its point of view, the entire journey from star to eye, from dawn to dusk, happens in an instant. When you see sunlight touch your skin, that light has traveled millions of kilometers. And yet to the photon, the journey took no time at all. It was always destined to meet you. Quantum physicist Carlo Rovelli once wrote, "Time is not something that flows. It's an emergent phenomenon, a perspective we create by interacting with the world." In other words, time might not exist independently. It might be born from relationships, from the way particles exchange energy and information. Without interaction, without awareness, there might be no time at all. That thought changes everything. It suggests that consciousness, the act of observing, isn't separate from the universe. It's part of the machinery that generates time itself. Your attention, your awareness, your curiosity, they don't just exist within time. They make time real. The more you look into quantum physics, the more it begins to sound like poetry wearing the mask of math. Reality is not made of solid things, but of probabilities of questions waiting to be asked. Every observation you make is a note in the song of existence. Every thought is a choice that narrows the infinite into one tangible now. Perhaps that's why dreams feel real, or why memory can tug you through years in a second. Perhaps consciousness operates by the same rules, a quantum traveler within the vast, uncertain field of being. Tonight, as you listen, try to feel that movement. You are made of atoms that once belonged to stars, oceans, and creatures long vanished. Their particles have been exchanging information since before time had meaning. Each electron in your body is older than your planet. Each photon that reaches your eyes carries a message from billions of years ago, a letter from the early universe written in light. You are a receiver, a translator, a momentary witness of an eternal conversation. And though you cannot see it, your own particles are part of that dialogue, communicating silently with the cosmos, remembering the beginning, whispering toward the future. So when you close your eyes tonight, imagine yourself dissolving into that quantum sea. Every molecule, every vibration, every spark of thought, merging with the great wave of possibility. Their time doesn't rush. It doesn't even move. It simply is. In that stillness, past and future touch fingertips, and you, fragile, luminous, temporary, are the place where they meet. You are not traveling through time. Time is traveling through you. And somewhere in the deepest heart of the quantum world, the universe is dreaming itself, awake through you, through me, through every flicker of light that refuses to end. There are moments when time seems to fold in on itself. You walk into a room you've never seen before yet. Something inside you whispers that you've been there. A sentence escapes your lips, and halfway through you realize you've spoken it already. The laughter of a stranger feels like a memory you can't quite place. That strange shiver of familiarity, that eerie echo, it's déjà vu. Scientists have chased this ghost for more than a century. Some say it's a short circuit of memory, a glitch in the brain's pattern recognition system. Others suspect something deeper, a small tear in the fabric of time perception, a moment when your consciousness slips between layers of reality and catches itself in the act of remembering the present. Whatever it is, déjà vu reminds us that time is not as linear as it seems. Sometimes it loops. The human brain is a storyteller, and like any storyteller, it edits as it goes. Most of what you experience isn't recorded moment by moment, it's summarized. You don't store every blink, every detail of a street corner. Instead, your brain builds a general model of the world, updating it constantly as new information arrives. When something happens that matches the pattern of an old experience, a sound, a smell, a shadow, the hippocampus may accidentally label it as familiar before your conscious mind has fully processed it. The result, a sudden wave of recognition with no clear source. It's your brain, not time, that has looped. But there's another possibility, one that feels more mysterious. Some neuroscientists suggest déjà vu may arise when two memory systems, short-term and long-term, briefly overlap. For an instant, the present is misfiled as the past. You're seeing now as if it's already happened. The brain momentarily confuses perceiving with remembering, creating a paradox. You recall something while it's still unfolding. This tiny overlap, barely a second long, may be the closest the mind ever comes to experiencing time as a circle. And perhaps that's why it feels so unsettling. It's not a malfunction, it's a glimpse of a larger truth. For just a heartbeat, you've stepped outside the arrow of time and caught yourself looping. Dreams too loop in their own peculiar ways. Sometimes you dream of something that later happens in real life, or seems to. Sometimes you dream of a place that doesn't exist yet. When you visit it years later, you feel an almost painful sense of recognition. The rational mind dismisses these moments as coincidence, but deep inside, another part of you wonders, what if time really can echo backward? Studies show that during REM sleep, the brain replays fragments of memory, emotion, and imagination, stitching them together into surreal tapestries. The process isn't random, it's rehearsal. Your mind is simulating possibilities, testing reactions, building scenarios for a future it hasn't yet met. Dreams then are not simply reflections of the past, they are prototypes of what could come. And sometimes when a future event closely matches one of those prototypes, it triggers the uncanny sense that you've lived it before. You have in the theater of sleep. That's why déjà vu feels so dreamlike. Because the machinery that produces it, the hippocampus, the temporal lobe, the emotional circuits of the brain, is the same machinery that dreams with you at night. It blurs boundaries between the remembered, the imagined, and the real. To your neurons, there is no strict difference between a dream recalled and a moment lived. Both are experiences stored as patterns of light and electricity. Both are fragments of the same infinite present, rearranged each time you awaken. Sometimes, déjà vu comes with its darker twin jamais vu, the sense that something deeply familiar suddenly feels alien. You look at your own hands and they seem foreign, or you repeat a word until it loses all meaning. In these instances, the mind doesn't echo, it erases, it resets the loop. Time feels strange, not because it's repeating, but because it's paused. Both déjà vu and jamais vu reveal the same secret, that time perception depends entirely on memory and meaning. When those systems misalign, reality itself seems to shimmer. Philosophers have long suspected that déjà vu might be evidence of a deeper structure to time. The French metaphysician Henri Bergson called it a doubling of the moment. He believed that consciousness exists slightly out of sync with itself, always living the present twice, once as it happens, once as it's remembered. If he was right, then every moment of your life is accompanied by its own echo, forever circling back to remind you that you've been here before. And maybe that's not a glitch at all. Maybe it's a comfort, a reminder that time isn't a straight road, but a spiral returning again and again to themes you need to understand. Think of how your life loops, the songs you return to, the faces that reappear in different stories, the patterns of mistakes and miracles that seem to repeat until you finally see them clearly. You are not trapped in those loops. You are learning through them. Each repetition teaches you something new. Each déjà vu is a checkpoint, a whisper. You've been here before. Don't miss what you overlooked last time. Maybe life itself is one long sequence of déjà vu, not of places, but of lessons. In the brain, even memories loop during sleep. During deep rest, the hippocampus replays the day's events at high speed, strengthening neural connections. It's as if the mind re-experiences the day thousands of times, condensing learning into permanence. You wake up with slightly altered wiring, wiser, calmer, more prepared for what comes next. Your dreams aren't wasting time. They're bending it, stretching seconds into hours, folding experiences back into your consciousness. And so déjà vu might be nothing less than your brain's quiet reminder that time is not a line you move through, but a pattern you weave. Moments repeat, not because fate demands it, but because meaning ripens through recurrence. Next time it happens, that sudden flicker of recognition, that quiet chill down your spine, don't pull away. Pause, smile at it. You've met this moment before, perhaps in a dream, perhaps in a heartbeat of eternity. And it has found you again, right on schedule. Because maybe somewhere beyond the reach of memory, beyond the loops of thought and the spin of electrons, time itself dreams, and every now and then it dreams you twice. There's a hush that comes at night, when the world grows still, the clock ticking softly, the street outside empty, and you find yourself wondering, where does all of it go? All the laughter, the voices, the faces you once knew. Do they vanish when you stop remembering? Does time erase them? Or do they linger somewhere, folded into the fabric of existence? This quiet ache is older than civilization. Humans have always been haunted by the same question. If time never stops, what happens to the moments that do? We fear that time is a thief, that every second steals something from us. Our childhoods, our parents, our youth, our loves. And maybe in a sense it does. But maybe the truth is gentler. Time doesn't erase, it transforms. The ancient Greeks had two words for time, chronos and kairos. Chronos was the relentless measured flow seconds, days, years. Kairos was sacred. Time, the moments that exist outside, counting when something meaningful happens, and you feel suspended, alive, timeless. Our fear comes from living too much in chronos and forgetting kairos. We watch the calendar pages fall, thinking they carry us away, when in truth they've been turning inside us all along. Still, the thought of fading terrifies us. It's the quiet anxiety that hums behind every birthday candle and every mirror glance. We want permanence in a universe that promises none. Biologically, the fear of vanishing is written into our survival code. Our brains evolved to anticipate loss because awareness of mortality kept our ancestors cautious. Deep in the limbic system, in the same circuits that generate fear of predators, lies a recognition that time too is a kind of hunter. We can't see it, but we feel its presence in every heartbeat. Neuroscientists call this temporal self-awareness, the uniquely human ability to understand that the future will come and that one day it won't include us. No other creature, as far as we know, can imagine its own end. That knowledge gave us philosophy, art and religion, and also anxiety, nostalgia and grief. To be human is to know that everything changes and to love anyway. In ancient tombs, archaeologists find handprints, outlines of palms pressed onto stone walls tens of thousands of years ago. Those hands belonged to people who feared vanishing too. They painted themselves into time, leaving proof that they were here, that they had seen the same stars you see now. Every poem, every melody, every story ever told is a continuation of that impulse. Art is humanity's rebellion against impermanence, a way to stretch one heartbeat across centuries. Even the simplest gestures, planting a tree, teaching a child whispering, "Remember me," are small acts of defiance against the arrow of time. They say, "I may fade, but my echo will not." Science tells a more complicated story. According to the laws of physics, information cannot be destroyed. Energy changes, form matter, transforms, but nothing truly disappears. The warmth of your skin, the words you speak, the love you give, all of it radiates outward as vibrations absorbed and scattered through the universe. You will dissolve, yes, but not vanish. Somewhere, photons that once touched your face are still traveling through the cosmos, carrying the faint memory of your light. In a sense, you are already immortal, not as a body, but as a pattern. Psychologists say we cope with mortality through what they call symbolic immortality, finding meaning that outlasts us. We invest in stories, relationships, faith, creativity. We build legacies, not because we want statues, but because we crave continuity, a way to feel that our existence fits into something larger than itself. Even love, at its deepest level, is an answer to the fear of vanishing. To love is to declare that part of you will live on in another's memory, another's breath. It's why people hold hands at funerals or whisper promises into the dark. They're not just comforting the living, they're anchoring themselves to eternity. But there's another way to face the fear, not by resisting time, but by understanding it. Physicists remind us that the universe doesn't perceive time the way we do. In the four-dimensional fabric of space-time, every event that has ever happened still exists. Your first step, your first love, this very second, all of it is still there, like frames in a film reel. We can only see one frame at a time, but none of them are lost. If that's true, then nothing truly vanishes. It simply moves out of view. The Buddhist sages knew this long before Einstein. They taught that everything changes because everything is connected. When a wave breaks on the shore, it doesn't die, it returns to the sea. When a leaf falls, it feeds the soil that will birth another. In their eyes, death was not disappearance, but transformation, one phase of a rhythm that has no beginning or end. The universe has never created or destroyed a single atom without purpose. Why would it start with you? Still knowing this doesn't make the ache vanish. The fear of fading isn't weakness, it's the cost of consciousness. The same awareness that allows us to love deeply also reminds us that love is temporary. But perhaps that's the point. Impermanence doesn't make life meaningless, it makes it precious. Because you will vanish, every sunrise matters. Because everything ends, every kindness counts. Because time flows only forward, you learn to hold on just long enough to let go. So tonight, as the minutes drift by, imagine your life as ripples spreading across an endless sea. Each choice, each heartbeat, each smile expands outward, merging with others until no one can tell where yours ends and theirs begins. You don't need to fight the current. You are the current, a wave rising, shining, and falling back into the ocean of being. One day the wave will disappear, but the water, the essence of you, will remain folded into the deep pulse of the cosmos. Time will keep flowing, yes, but part of it will always flow with your name. And maybe that's all eternity really, is not endless existence, but endless influence. Not the absence of death, but the persistence of meaning. You were here, you are here, and nothing, not even time, can truly make you vanish. There are places in the world where clocks seem to hesitate, where hours lose their shape and minutes stretch like mist. You might have stood in one without realizing it. A desert where the horizon never moves. A forest where sunlight filters like slow breath. A mountain summit where the air is so thin it feels like memory instead of wind. In such places, time doesn't vanish. It simply loosens its grip. People have always sought these timeless spaces. Pilgrims call them sacred, poets call them eternal, and scientists quietly admit they change the way our brains perceive reality. When stimulation fades, No phone buzzes, no schedules. Intrude, the mind's internal metronome slows. Brain waves drift toward the alpha and theta rhythms of deep rest, the same patterns that accompany prayer and dreaming. In this stillness, a strange thing happens. The mind stops counting. Let's begin in the desert, the oldest silence known to humankind. Step onto the sands at dawn, and you'll feel it immediately, that vast emptiness where nothing rushes. The dunes stretch endlessly, erasing distinction between one grain and the next. You walk, but the horizon never arrives. The air shimmers, shadows blur. The desert doesn't mark time with change, it marks it with stillness. Nomads have always said that the desert teaches patience. Its beauty exists in slowness, in repetition, in the long dialogue between heat and cold. To survive there, you learn to move, as the wind moves, to accept delay as part of rhythm. In that surrender, the pressure of time dissolves. Move from sand to forest, and the story shifts but continues. Under the canopy light becomes liquid dripping through leaves, sliding across moss, pooling in silence. Every tree keeps its own clock. The oldest among them have seen centuries past their roots, drinking from the same water that once fed mammoths and ancient rains. Forests measure time not in seconds, but in seasons. They breathe in centuries, exhaling wisdom at a pace slower than language. Scientists studying old-growth trees found that their inner rings record droughts, fires, and recoveries, a written biography of patience. To stand among them is to stand inside a living archive of time's endurance. Listen closely, and you can hear the whisper of sap moving upward, slow, as moonrise. It is a sound older than civilization, older than the clocks that try to explain it. And then, there are the mountains. On their slopes, the air thins until your breath slows. The heartbeat that hurried below now matches the rhythm of the stones. Up here, erosion is the only clock peaks carved by wind valleys sculpted by glaciers long gone. To geologists, mountains are frozen explosions of time. Each layer of rock holds a record of the planet's ancient memory seas that rose and vanished, creatures that lived and turned to dust fires that cooled into crystal. When you touch a cliff face, you are placing your hand on millions of years compressed into silence. No wonder mystics climbed mountains to speak with gods. At that altitude, human concerns shrink. Even thought becomes thin, transparent. You realize how much of life's noise is self-made. The mountain's lesson is simple. Eternity is not far away. It is all around, hidden in plain sight. Some timeless places are hidden below rather than above. Caves, for instance, are natural cathedrals of stillness. Deep underground, the temperature never changes. Stalactites grow so slowly, you could watch one for a lifetime and never see it lengthen. There is no sunrise or sunset, only the patient drip of mineral-rich water writing its poetry in stone. Archaeologists found that early humans painted animals on cave walls, not only to record hunts, but to speak with time itself. Those hands traced in ochre are 3,000 years old, yet they still look fresh, as though the artist just stepped away for a breath. Inside the cave, the difference between yesterday and forever disappears. The ocean tells the same story in motion, rather than stillness. Watch the tide roll in and out, and you are witnessing a heartbeat older than life. The sea doesn't hurry, it repeats. Each wave is unique, yet all belong to the same rhythm. That rhythm seeps into your bones when you sit beside it long enough. Your pulse synchronizes with the surf. The boundary between you and the world begins to soften. Marine biologists once measured the soundscape beneath the waves and found that whales sing in frequencies that can circle the globe notes, traveling for thousands of kilometers through deep water. When you hear that low echo, you are listening to a conversation that began before language, continuing without pause. Time underwater is sound. Even the Arctic holds its own version of eternity, landscapes of ice that record climate like scripture. Layers of frozen snow contain tiny air bubbles, each a miniature museum of the atmosphere thousands of years ago. Scientists drill into them to read the breath of ancient winters. When you stand there under auroral light, the silence feels infinite. You realize how fragile and vast existence is at once. The ice glowing under green ribbons of sky is a clock that ticks in centuries, not seconds. And yet it too melts a reminder that even timelessness is temporary. There's a phenomenon psychologists call temporal transcendence, the sensation that time has stopped or lost meaning, often triggered by awe. People report it while staring at the Grand Canyon at a total eclipse or in a cathedral filled with music. The prefrontal cortex quiets the inner narrator, goes silent, and for a moment the self dissolves into scale. In those moments, you're not watching time. You're inside it, weightless, free of urgency. The clock keeps ticking, but it no longer belongs to you. We travel to these places, deserts, forests, mountains, oceans, because something inside us remembers their language. The modern world runs on deadlines and alarms, but our bodies are ancient instruments, tuned to the tempo of wind and tide. When we return to nature, we're not escaping time. We're recalibrating to its true rhythm. You don't have to journey far to find such stillness. Sometimes it's in the quiet of your room when the rain begins to fall, or in the pause between one breath and the next. These are the doorways to the timeless. So tonight as you rest, imagine walking through those places, the cool cave air, the endless sand, the whisper of leaves, the ocean's pulse beneath the stars. Let them merge into one landscape, vast, slow, eternal. Here, clocks have no hands. Here, the world doesn't age. It simply breathes. And perhaps that's the secret. Every timeless place is trying to tell you, time isn't an enemy to escape, but a rhythm to join. When you stop counting, you start belonging. Look up, and you are already looking back in time. Every star you see tonight shines with light that has been traveling for years, decades, even millennia before it reached you. Some of those stars are long dead, yet their glow is still crossing the black ocean of space, whispering, "I was here." The night sky isn't just a view, it's an archive, a museum of cosmic memory. When you stare at the stars, you are seeing billions of clocks all ticking at different speeds. Massive suns live fast and die young, burning their fuel in a few million years. Small red dwarfs, by contrast, can burn for trillions of years, far longer than the universe has existed so far. To them, our entire civilization is only a heartbeat. Out there, time is elastic. Gravity and motion stretch and twist it, sculpting an unseen rhythm that only the cosmos can hear. The stars are not just points of light, they are slow symphonies. Let's begin with the nearest star, our Sunday. Every second, it releases 4 million tons of matter as energy pouring light across space like an unending heartbeat. Yet it has been doing this calmly for nearly 5 billion years, and it will continue for another 5 before swelling into a red giant. When you feel sunlight on your skin, you're feeling something that left the sun 8 minutes ago. That's the distance between you and a fusion furnace where hydrogen atoms collide and merge into helium, the same process that powers every star you can see. Inside that furnace, time itself slows slightly because of gravity. To an observer at the sun's core, a second passes more slowly than it does on Earth. Even light, which seems constant, takes tens of thousands of years to move from the center of the sun to its surface before escaping freely into space. What reaches your eyes is ancient starlight, disguised as morning. Far beyond, other stars live at entirely different tempos. Some are newborn hot blue giants, blazing fiercely for a few million years before exploding as supernovae. Some are elders, cool red giants, swollen with age, their outer layers drifting into space like fading breath. Some, like pulsars, spin hundreds of times per second, flashing beams of radiation so precisely that they rival our best atomic clocks. Astronomers can measure time across galaxies using the pulse of a dying star. Imagine that the heartbeat of something that ceased to exist millions of years ago, still keeping time for us. In that way, the universe itself is full of ghosts of motion. Light from the Andromeda galaxy takes 2.5 million years to reach us. The image we see tonight began its journey before humans learned to walk upright. Even the moon, so close, lags behind by a little more than a second. Every glance at the sky is a glimpse into the past, a soft reminder that the present out there is always delayed. Stars also reveal time's patience. Their formation is a slow ballet of gravity and chaos. A cloud of gas collapses under its own weight, atoms colliding until pressure ignites the first nuclear fires. That process can take millions of years. And yet every single atom in your body, the carbon in your cells, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, was once inside such a star. When those stars died, they scattered their ashes across the galaxy. From those ashes, new suns and planets formed, including Earth. You are quite literally made of ancient light, slowed down and shaped into life. Carl Sagan said it best: "We are star stuff contemplating the stars." And in that act of contemplation, the universe is finally seeing itself in the mirror of consciousness. The slow science of the stars is also the story of balance. While we measure time in heartbeats and years, stars measure it in aeons and cycles. They teach us patience beyond imagination. A single orbit of our galaxy takes the Sun 230 million years, meaning since dinosaurs walked the Earth, our solar system has only made one galactic loop. From that cosmic perspective, hurry becomes absurd. The things we call urgent emails, deadlines, fears, dissolve into dust. What's left is awe. The stars remind us that even slowness is movement, even stillness is progress. Every hydrogen atom fusing in a stellar core is an act of forward motion, a step in the grand choreography of creation. Astronomers once thought the universe was static, eternal, unchanging. Then Edwin Hubble looked through his telescope and saw galaxies rushing away from each other, space itself expanding. That discovery turned time into a physical force. It showed that the cosmos isn't a backdrop where things happen. It's a living entity in motion, growing older with every breath. And just as stars are born and die, so will the universe itself, but not for trillions upon trillions of years. In cosmic time, our species is a single spark, a brief flare on the surface of eternity. Yet somehow we are the only spark that knows it's glowing. When you gaze up at night, you're participating in one of humanity's oldest rituals, the act of aligning your pulse with the heavens. The Babylonians charted those lights to predict seasons. The Mayans used them to time their rituals. The Polynesians sailed by them, trusting the rhythm of the sea to carry them between worlds. And you, lying beneath the same stars, are still guided by them, though now they pull you not across oceans but across thoughts. Starlight is therapy for the soul. It doesn't rush, it doesn't shout. It only reminds you that your worries, like clouds, will pass, and the stars, patient as ever, will wait for you to notice them again. Tonight, if the sky is clear, step outside for a moment. Let your eyes adjust to the dark until you begin to see what was always there. Each point of light is an ancient message, a memory written in photons. When one of those photons touches your eye, it completes a journey millions of years in the making. It ends where it began, as awareness. The stars are slow teachers. They speak in centuries, not seconds. They don't ask you to understand, only to listen. And if you listen closely enough, you might hear them say, "Be patient. Nothing in the universe is ever truly lost." Even light, once freed, travels forever. You are part of that light, moving slowly, steadily, beautifully toward whatever tomorrow means in the language of the cosmos. Imagine that somewhere beyond the stars, beyond the swirling arms of galaxies and the invisible filaments that bind them together, time itself decides to rest. The universe exhales, the galaxies stop expanding, and the endless ticking that drives existence falls silent. What would it mean if time could sleep? The idea sounds poetic, but physicists have wondered about it too. They ask what might happen if the fundamental vibrations of particles, the tiny rhythms that keep everything in motion, were to slow, or if the expansion of the cosmos were to pause. In that stillness, there would be no before or after, no cause or effect. It wouldn't be emptiness exactly. It would be perfect equilibrium. To human minds, such stillness feels unimaginable. We are creatures of movement, hearts that beat lungs, that fill neurons that spark. Without flow, we lose orientation. Yet the notion of time sleeping has haunted philosophers for centuries, a strange comfort hidden inside the idea of the end. In physics, time could only sleep if the universe reached what scientists call thermal equilibrium, the heat death of the cosmos. It's not death in a tragic sense, but in a peaceful one, all energy evenly spread, no gradients left to drive motion or change. Every star burned out, every atom cold. In that distant future, perhaps 10 to the 100th power years from now, the cosmos would be silent. Black holes would have evaporated into faint radiation. Galaxies would be gone. Even protons, the building blocks of atoms, might decay. Only a thin mist of particles would drift in an endless sea of space. But it wouldn't be nothingness. It would be the longest sleep imaginable. A rest so vast that even the concept of duration loses meaning. Time would no longer measure change. It would become a gentle hum beneath the stillness, dreaming of what once was. For mystics and poets, this scenario has another interpretation. They see in it not destruction, but return, the universe, closing its eyes to begin again. Just as every night leads to dawn, perhaps the cosmic night is not an ending, but a pause between breaths. In Hindu cosmology, time is cyclical. The universe wakes, expands, ages, and finally dissolves into the sleeping form of Vishnu, the preserver who dreams the next creation into being. In that vision, time does not die. It dreams, and when it dreams, everything returns, stars reborn, oceans reformed, minds rekindled. Each cycle different, each sleep giving birth to new possibilities. Science and spirituality, usually distant cousins, meet quietly here. Both admit that the end of time may not be an absence, but a transformation. We can glimpse this idea on smaller scales too. When you sleep, your personal time softens. Your body cools your pulse, slows your awareness, drifts into patterns that no longer obey clocks. The brain begins to sort through the day, weaving emotions and memories into dreams. Outside, the world keeps turning, but inside, time folds, looping, stretching, forgetting itself. Every night you live a miniature version of cosmic rest, a temporary surrender of linear existence. When you wake, the rhythm resumes. If time could sleep, maybe it would dream as you do of movement, of light, of beginnings. In deep meditation, monks describe a state called turiya, the fourth condition of consciousness, beyond waking, dreaming, and dreamless sleep. In turiya, awareness remains, but time disappears. The mind doesn't move from thought to thought. It simply rests in the eternal present. Neuroscientists studying advanced meditators find their brain waves synchronize into ultra-slow rhythms, almost like the heartbeat of the earth itself. It's as if the body has remembered how to mimic the universe's own rest. Perhaps the cosmos too will one day reach Turiya Pure, being vast stillness beyond the rush of entropy. But before that unimaginable sleep, the universe still dances. Stars still ignite galaxies, collide black holes, spin and sing their deep gravitational songs. Cosmic rays streak through space, carrying stories of ancient explosions. The music continues slower than we can hear, grander than we can grasp. We live in one of its bright verses, a fleeting stanza before the quiet refrain. And though we know the silence will come, we keep playing, because the song itself is worth it. That's the paradox of existence. We are temporary beings, inside an eternal process. We know the music will end, and yet we dance harder because of it. When scientists describe the last moments of the universe, they talk in the language of decay, of protons, photons, and fading radiation. But if you listen between the equations, you can hear something softer, a kind of lullaby. Energy disperses, but it doesn't disappear. The last light fades, but its wavelength stretches forever, until it becomes nothing more than a whisper of warmth. That warmth is the echo of everything that ever was. Every star, every breath, every heartbeat. Even at the end of time, the memory of motion remains. Time itself, as it drifts towards sleep, will carry the dreams of all that came before. Maybe that's what we humans are, the universe's early dreams. We are its consciousness trying itself out before the great rest. We look up, study the stars, measure seconds, and ask where it's all going the same way. A dream wonders about its own meaning. We are time still awake, remembering itself through thought and language and love. And perhaps one day when the cosmic night finally arrives, the universe will exhale one last time, and we, the dreamers, will become part of its final sigh. Not erased, but absorbed. Not lost, but returned. Tonight, as you listen to the quiet around you, imagine that great sleep approaching not with fear, but with peace. Let yourself feel the softness of inevitability, the way waves return to sea. Your heartbeat slows, matching the slow heartbeat of the cosmos. The future is not rushing toward you, it's resting beside you. And when you finally drift off, know that your sleep is a small reflection of the universe's own longing to rest, a tiny rehearsal for eternity. If time could sleep, it would dream of this, of light learning to love, darkness of motion becoming music of existence, remembering how to rest. Every photon is a messenger from the past. When you look at the night sky, the stars you see are already gone, or at least they've changed. Their light left them hundreds, thousands, sometimes millions of years ago. What you see now is their memory arriving at last. Light in this way is both witness and archive, the universe's own diary written in motion. Every beam carries with it a story of fusion, of heat of matter turning into energy. It travels tirelessly indifferent to time, because for light time doesn't exist. At the speed of light, everything is now. There is no waiting, no aging, no before or after. A photon that left the sun during the birth of humanity would, from its own perspective, have reached your eyes in the same instant. To light the journey is not a line, it is a single, eternal presence. Einstein showed us this strange truth that time slows for anything in motion. As you approach, the speed of light seconds stretch into infinities. Clocks stop ticking. From light's point of view, the entire history of the universe, from the Big Bang to this very moment, happens all at once. It's hard to grasp, but perhaps that's why light feels divine to us. We chase it, but we can never catch it. It touches everything, and yet remains untouched. In the beginning, there was light, or so many creation stories say. The Bible's first command, let there be, light, echoes the Big Bang's own burst of energy. Across cultures, light stands for consciousness, knowledge, spirit. Maybe it's not coincidence. Maybe light is literally the oldest awareness in existence, the first thing the universe ever knew. Scientists tell us that for the first 3,800,000 years after the Big Bang, the cosmos was opaque, filled with hot plasma. Then, as it cooled, atoms formed, and light was finally free to travel. That first light, the cosmic microwave background, still fills the universe today, stretched into faint microwaves by the expansion of space. When astronomers detect it, they're seeing the afterglow of creation itself. You can think of it as the universe's baby photo, a soft, faded snapshot of its first breath. That glow surrounds you right now. Every second, billions of ancient photons pass through your body carrying the faint warmth of the beginning. You are literally bathed in the memory of light. Light also keeps the records of all that followed. When a star dies in a supernova, its explosion lights up galaxies far away, sending out a final message that can travel for eternity. When light reflects off a leaf or a face, it carries that image outward at 3,000,000 kilometers per second. If we had a perfect telescope, we could in theory look far enough away to see our own planet as it once was. The dinosaurs walking the oceans, forming the first fires burning. The universe has no delete key. Light remembers everything. Even the most ordinary photons, the ones bouncing off your walls, your hands, your eyes, continue on forever, expanding outward, thinning into space. Long after we're gone, those tiny fragments of light will still be traveling, still bearing the imprint of your existence. In that sense, nothing you do is ever entirely lost. Every movement, every gesture, every glance creates ripples in the ocean of light. The cosmos is your witness, patiently recording everything in its endless archive of radiance. There's a strange comfort in knowing that light never truly dies. It can scatter, fade, stretch, but not vanish. Energy cannot be destroyed, it only changes form. When light meets matter, it becomes warmth, growth, life. When it escapes again, it carries with it traces of everything it touched. This is why sunsets make us quiet. In that golden hour, we watch light transform from brilliance to shadow, from presence to memory. We're witnessing the same process happening on a universal scale, illumination turning into recollection. Photons don't just illuminate the world, they shape it. Plants bend toward them. Eyes evolve to capture them. Our circadian rhythms, our sense of day and night, of work and rest, are orchestrated by their arrival and departure. Light writes the score of our biology. Without it, we would not only die, we would never have known time in the first place. The rhythm of light became the heartbeat of life. Astronomers sometimes say that telescopes are time machines, but they're really memory machines, instruments that read light's messages from the deep past. When they photograph distant galaxies, they're not just capturing images, they're retrieving lost moments. A supernova seen tonight might have exploded when the first mammals were still hiding from dinosaurs. Every pixel of the night sky is a word in the oldest poem ever written, one composed entirely of photons. And you sitting beneath that sky are part of it. The atoms in your eyes, the carbon, the hydrogen, the oxygen, were all forged in stars whose deaths painted those same heavens. You are both reader and author, both observer and remembered. Sometimes when you close your eyes, you might see faint flashes, tiny specks of light behind your eyelids. They're not imaginary. They're the result of random photons striking your retina or molecules in your eyes, releasing energy as they settle. Even in darkness, light finds a way to speak. Maybe that's what awareness is, the echo of ancient light still burning quietly within us. And when people talk about seeing the light in moments of insight or peace, maybe they're touching that inner radiance, the original memory of the cosmos shining through consciousness. The memory of light is not only cosmic, it's emotional. Every photograph you take, every candle you light for someone gone, every sunrise that stirs your heart, they all remind you that illumination is both fleeting and eternal. Light touches and departs, but its warmth remains. We carry those luminous imprints as feelings, nostalgia, hope. They are the inner reflections of a physical truth. Nothing that shines is ever truly gone. Tonight, when you turn off the lamp and let the darkness settle, remember that you are still surrounded by light, ancient, invisible, endless. The starlight that brushes your window began its journey long before your ancestors existed. The photons from your phone screen will travel outward, forever carrying your face into the void. The universe keeps everything, every flicker, every spark, every story. And somewhere in that eternal archive, this moment, your breath, your heartbeat, your awareness is being written in light. You are part of the memory now. And one day, when time itself fades, the last glow of the universe will still carry your trace, a shimmer in the dark, a whisper of being. Because light, unlike us, never forgets. The clock on your wall will keep ticking long after you've fallen asleep. It will mark seconds faithfully, its hands circling through the dark. But what if the ticking stopped, meaning anything? What if time as you know it was only a costume, a convenient language for something far deeper? There comes a moment at the end of every journey when measurement no longer matters. The numbers fade, the counting stops, and what's left is experience, raw, infinite, and quiet. This is what it means to move beyond the clock. All our lives we've built fences of hours and days to contain the vastness of existence. We learned to schedule the sunrise, to label anniversaries, to celebrate rotations of the planet as birthdays and years. Yet none of those measurements belong to the universe. They belong to us. Time as we live it is a translation, an attempt to make sense of change. Out there among the stars, no clock could survive. Planets spin at different speeds, light moves without aging, and black holes stretch seconds into eternities. Time is not a universal rhythm, it's a local accent. Each corner of the cosmos speaks it differently. Even on Earth, we feel this diversity. The same minute can be heavy or weightless depending on who feels it. The same hour can contain despair or wonder. Clocks measure intervals, but they can't measure depth. The deeper you live, the slower time becomes. Humanity's first clocks weren't devices at all. They were experiences. The shadow on the ground, the tide at the shore, the breath in meditation. These natural cycles didn't divide life, they connected it. Each one reminded us that time isn't outside of us. It's something that flows through us, something we participate in. Modern time, with its strict precision, gave us progress, science, technology, coordination, but it also made us forget the music. We began to treat moments like currency, spending them, wasting them, saving them. We turned eternity into economics. But life isn't a balance sheet, it's a song. And the rhythm isn't found in clocks, it's found in awareness. To live beyond the clock means to remember what time was before we tried to own it. It means feeling mornings, not as beginnings, but as awakenings. It means watching twilight, not as endings, but as transformations. It means understanding that even when the world sleeps, time is still breathing softly, endlessly, without schedule. When you lie beneath the sky and let the hours dissolve, you begin to sense a truth. Your ancestors knew intuitively that time isn't a line you follow, but an ocean you float in. Some waves lift you into joy, some pull you into sorrow. But the water itself, the vastness that carries you, never changes. That is eternity, the quiet beneath all movement. Mystics have always hinted at this. The Sufis called it the timeless heart, the place within that never grows old. Zen monks spoke of suchness, a state where everything simply is. Einstein too touched it, when he said that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. To step beyond the clock, then, isn't to escape time. It's to see through it, to realize that the present moment contains everything that ever was or will be. Every atom in your body once belonged to stars that died billions of years ago. Every breath you take carries air that passed through trees older than language. Every thought you have ripples forward. influencing futures you'll never witness. In the web of existence, nothing is isolated. Past, present, and future are different faces of the same timeless being, and you are part of it. When you truly understand this, something softens. You stop rushing toward milestones and start noticing the spaces between. You start to hear silence as part of the song, not the absence of it. You begin to forgive yourself for not being faster, stronger, younger, or on time, because you realize there is no lateness in eternity. There is only unfolding. The universe has never been early or delayed. It simply arrives as itself moment by moment. And you too are exactly on schedule because you are the schedule. You are time experiencing itself. Even science at its edge begins to echo this understanding. Quantum physics suggests that time might not be fundamental, that it arises from relationships between particles, from interaction, from awareness. If that's true, then time isn't something happening to you. It's something happening with you. Your consciousness is part of the equation. Without the observer, there is no measurement, and without measurement, no before or after. Perhaps the universe dreams itself through your awareness, one shimmering second at a time, when you realize that every moment becomes sacred, not because it lasts, but because it exists. Beyond the clock, the world slows. You begin to see patterns, the way light spills on the floor, the rhythm of footsteps, the hush before rain. These are not small things, they are eternity showing its face in fragments. And once you notice them, you can never go back to merely counting hours. Instead of saying another day has passed, you begin to say another universe has breathed. Instead of measuring your life in years, you begin to measure it in awakenings. The fear of running out of time fades when you understand you were never chasing it. You are made of the same unfolding that moves galaxies. You are a flicker of awareness in the endless conversation between matter and mystery. When your body ends, the pattern continues, your atoms scattering your light, merging with the greater light, your story dissolving into new stories. No clock can contain that. No calendar can name it. So tonight, let the ticking fade. Close your eyes and feel the rhythm of your own pulse, steady, ancient, indifferent to numbers. That pulse is older than the first clock, older than the first sunrise. It's the heartbeat of the universe echoing through you. You don't need to count it, you only need to listen. Because beyond the clock, beyond the illusion of before and after, there is only one vast truth, that everything is happening right now, and right now is forever.